The competence-based curriculum has been hit with a number of difficulties since it was rolled out. The curriculum was rolled out in January, targeting pre-primary grades 1, 2 and 3 learners. The new 2633 system is replacing the 844, which has been discredited for being too examination-centered.
While the Ministry of Education maintains that it has handled the teething problems, there are counties like Kwale where poor infrastructure and insufficient staff are proving to be a bottleneck in the access of education for the young children. NTV's award-winning journalist Rose Wangoi takes us to the classrooms in Kinango constituency, Kilifi County, where undeterred children pursue an education amidst crushing deficiencies. And is it Kilifi or Kwale?
This is in Kwale.
Grass-thatched roofs which are feebly supported by worn-out mud walls intertwine between cracks and holes. Tumaini Primary School stands tall. The school's nearly non-existent infrastructure paints the grim reality that is the pursuit of education in Kinango constituency, Kwale County. Perhaps pupils and teachers in this particular institution often pray it does not rain during the day or the strong wind may have mercy on them when the skies open.
Kukinyesha, ukweli ni kwamba watoto wote wanatoka kule ambako waliko kwenye madarasa wanakuja kwenye ile structure ambayo iko na bati. Wote hakuna masomo ambayo yanasomeka.
The classes are ever dusty and the desk is shared by up to 5 learners. The school, which was registered in 2007, does not have a permanent structure. Its survival now is by the mercy of few well-wishers.
Makuti wale wanarekebisha ni mchango tu wa wazazi ndio ambao unasaidia hii hali. Lakini kama si hivyo kungekuwa na hali nyingine ambayo sio.
The institution, whose student population is 236, currently needs at least 6 classrooms to accommodate the pupils who learn in mud-wall structures and under trees. There is no administration block. The head teacher and his staff have to use a mud-walled structure to keep important records and prepare their lessons. The Ministry of Education rolled out the competency-based curriculum after a 1-year nationwide experimentation. It targeted pre-primary, grades 1, 2 and 3 learners. The question of infrastructure development in schools, especially in rural areas, is one that cannot be wished away. Under a thorny tree that barely keeps away the scorching sun, a group of children aged 5 and 6 years sit on the dusty ground.
Hello. Hi.
With little success, the teacher struggles to regain full attention of the easily distracted classes and rushes through the lesson.
Yes, very good. Sheep.
Lower classes are conducted under trees. This comes with insurmountable challenges. The pupils miss out on the quality of education that they ought to receive because they do not concentrate. The head teacher says, despite filing complaints with the county government, no help of any form has come their way.
Mambo ya ECD tumeenda kwa public participation kila mara, lakini hakuna siku hata moja tumefaidika. Twashangaa kwa sababu kwamba upande mwingine kunafanyiwa, huku kwetu kunakuwa na shida. Watoto 80 wa ECD wako hapa na wako nje mpaka saa hii. Hawana choo chao, maana kila ambacho kiko chatumika na wale watu wakubwa.
Number 5. Rice.
Sisi kama tungepata facilities za kutosha, tuamini kwamba hawa watoto wangefanya vizuri zaidi.
Mfumo umeingizwa lakini vitabu hatujapata.
The situation is replicated at AIC Ngangani Primary School. The classrooms are in a deplorable state, many of them destroyed by heavy rains. Most of the classrooms, poorly constructed with mud walls, are so frail, they're literally shaking. When it rains, the roads become impassable, the classrooms leaky, and many people simply stay away for the duration of the rains. The school, which was started in 2005, does not have a toilet. The pupils and teachers are forced to relieve themselves in the bushes.
The place is rocky. Parents tried to dig some pits, but then they are filled. In fact, I'm worried if a public health officer comes in here. I'm afraid the school may be closed. Even when I came, I was also shown some bush where teachers always go. And I'm not comfortable with that one.
The school has 4 permanent classrooms constructed by the Constituency Development Fund. These are preserved for the lower classes. The upper classes have to make do with mud wall structures. The worn-out walls make teaching a difficult task due to noise from both ends of the classroom. This, according to teachers, affects teaching and learning as children lose focus. The blackboards are battered. As learning continues, unlikely visitors can be seen roaming within the classrooms. The head teacher says that the allocation from the government is not enough to do maintenance work on the mud-walled classrooms.
What we received in first term, it was around 37,000. That's peanuts. It's like a drop in the ocean. So you can tell me, what can you do with that money? We need to take care of our property. So that's the watchman who should be paid not less than 4,000. We pay him 4,000 shillings.
And with the introduction of the competency-based new curriculum, the school faces another challenge. Only 3 of its teachers have been trained for this new system of teaching.
There are 3 classes that remain without a teacher at any given period. So really we have a problem. Performance is not good.
First of all, we have to study that map.
The major challenges are just the textbooks that we are not getting them, especially when it comes to giving work to the learners. You see, the way they have been designed, it's like every pupil should have a book. So if they are not there, then it becomes oral. It is not practical. Those books that they have are for the mathematics activity, language activity, but those others are not there. They are yet to be delivered. If resources shall be made available, this curriculum is the best because it is actually focusing on the holistic development of that child. One could be good at a certain area. Again, ukiangalia the present one, it is just purely academic.
7 years after the pre-primary schooling was devolved, Singangani is yet to get a permanent structure. Young pupils continue to learn in deplorable conditions as their teachers work under the mercy of parents for pay. The classroom lacks basic learning materials such as desks, chairs and blackboards.
After the devolution, that was 2013, no teacher has been sent here by the county government. The pre-primary teacher is here. Is paid by the community. In a month, you can give her maybe 1,000, 2,000, anangojea, lakini anavumilia.
Magodzoni Primary School sits in perhaps a worst state. The school is in a dilapidated state, exposing the hardship learners and teachers are subjected to at least 8 hours a day. The pupils learn in classes that have developed huge cracks such that one cannot differentiate between a door and a window. Entrance is through any opening in the classrooms. The school does not have chairs or desks and pupils are forced to sit on makeshift pieces of timber supported by 2 stones which acts as chairs. When it rains, water leaks through the holes in the roof and the children's books get wet, and when it's windy, it penetrates through the cracks. The school, which has a population of 260 pupils, has only 2 permanent structures which are allocated to the lower classes. Grade 1, 2 and 3 are forced to sit on bare floors while attending their classes for lack of desks.
The sounds are
The class also acts as a storeroom.
What is the sound?
The worst nightmare for the young learners is during continuous assessment tests and end-term exams. Due to lack of enough classrooms, pupils are scattered all over the school compound. But it doesn't end there. According to the head teacher, a shortage of teachers has drastically affected the implementation of the new curriculum at her school. Out of 8 TSC teachers, only 3 have undergone training on the new curriculum.
Huu mfumo mpya wa elimu, mwalimu anatakikana aangalie mambo mengi kulingana na mtoto. Skills. Kwa hiyo kazi imekuwa ni kubwa sana, mbinu zimebadilika. Kwa hiyo sasa kuna terms ambazo walimu hata sasa zinawasumbua kidogo. Vitabu vya darasa la 3 vya CBC ni ngumu kupatikana.
The word is met. What are the sounds?
Mwalimu anapofunza inabidi arudie vile vitabu vya zamani vya tusome ambayo ni old curriculum. Ndio arudi sasa awafunze watoto, ambapo inakuwa ni changamoto sana kwake.
This structure is a classroom for the pre-primary who attend school here. In their quest for education, it was built by the parents for the young learners, but the conditions here are threatening the very foundation they hope to build. The situation isn't any better at Bomani Primary School. Its dilapidated classrooms are quenching the thirst for education for more than 200 pupils. The school has only 2 permanent classrooms, forcing pupils to study in mud-walled structures.
The statement is negative, so it requires...
The school is in such disrepair that at any moment the classrooms they're taught in could collapse. The mud walls of some of the classes have fallen off.
So we have said we use
the teachers are ready to deliver, but in very poor structures. From class 1 to standard 8, there are only 20 desks. That the ones we are dealing with them.
This is a unique learning environment. Class 4 and 5 share a classroom. The pupils have a rough time concentrating as the 2 teachers appear to be competing who is the loudest. When one classes face one direction, the other faces the opposite direction. Pit latrines are almost caving in, forcing teachers and pupils to use nearby bushes and thickets to respond to nature calls. Established 15 years ago, the school has 8 teachers, but only 2 understand the new curriculum.
Let us remind ourselves, what is the question tag?
Each have 52 lessons per week. That is the truth of the matter. Because at first we had taken those 2 to cater for standard 1, standard 2, and standard 3. But we saw there's a challenge because if one goes to the standard 1 and standard 2, class 3 remains without a teacher. We are just teachers of the old era. We are using the old methods to cope with them. Where we cannot afford using the old methods, we tell those who are inducted to deal with them. Such that even if the teacher is absent today, maybe because there is a human being, might fall sick anytime. So when he's absent, a teacher might go there to teach, but not teach the CBC.
Pre-primary children are facing a rocky start in their quest for education. Pre-primary level 1 and 2 are crammed in a single mud-walled structure. They sit on the bare ground and write on their palms and knees. The gaping holes in the classrooms have been covered by manila charts, cartons and sacks to protect the young learners from wind and dust. The pupils are taught by an untrained teacher. She handles 4 classes from preschool to grade 3.
I don't think he has the right skills to teach the CBC. What we know that she got a C+ in Form 4, and since we see her delivering, because just a matter of reading the material and delivering to the pupils. We don't know whether whatever she's doing is the right thing as per the CBC or not. We don't know. Saturday and Sunday. And any time she decides to go because of maybe the underpayment, still we shall have that problem.
At Mbwaleni Primary School, there are 121 pupils in PP1 and PP2. There is so little space that the teacher can barely fit in the gap between pupils' knees in the front row and the chalkboard. The pupils sit on the floor and place books on their laps when they are writing. They have no desks.
In 2012, the county council came up with a building which did not complete. And because of that, we have been forced to converge the children in the classrooms which are already collapsing. We have made some calls for the county government. They have promised to come and build an ECD. At first we had high hopes, but now it is almost 5 years since they promised, and we have not seen it being fulfilled.
The school, which has a population of 421 pupils, but the classroom space cannot fit the growing numbers. It operates with only 6 TSC teachers. Most of the classrooms are built using homemade low-quality bricks. The roof is made of iron sheets that rattle on a windy afternoon. In some classes, the roof has partially caved in and sags dangerously. There are only 3 permanent structures occupied by the upper classes.
It's only class 8 and class 7 which at least has some desks for children to sit. From class 1 to class 6, there are no desks for children to sit.
Although the teachers are backing the implementation of the competency-based curriculum, they are of the opinion that the system has added more work. The curriculum covers the following learning areas. In PP1 and PP2, the subjects include languages, mathematics, environmental activities, psychomotor and creative activities, and religious education. In grades 1, 2, and 3, the list contained titles in the following areas: Kiswahili literacy, English, mathematics, environmental activities, hygiene and nutrition, Christian, Hindu, and Islamic religious education, movement, and creative activities. Ideally, for CBC to be effective, there should be at least 20 learners per class. But here in Kinango, that is not applicable, since most of the schools have only 1 teacher handling an average of 50 pupils or more.
We had teachers who were trained for only a day, and the teachers were trained for 3 days. We have had some challenges. The enrollment of class 1 is around 80 children. The enrollment of class 2 is 75, and the enrollment of class 3 is 63. Because of the scarcity of teachers, the class 1 teacher is forced to handle all the subjects, and so does the class 2 and class 3 teacher. So there is too much workload.
Consequently, the teachers have failed to use learner-centered interactive teaching methods as the CBC demands.
When we heard about the CBC, we thought that maybe it would be like the 844 system, which the teachers were taking for 2 years for proper training. But with a 2-day training, I don't think whether it is fit for teachers to be well equipped for the CBC. Actually, we have been marveled. We have got very little knowledge. When we go to class, we don't have the courage. CBC inataka mafunzo mengi yawe yako kidigital. Na sasa sisi hata moto wenyewe huku shuleni hatu. So kweli unaona tunaweza tukawasaidia watoto.
We are not opposing the new curriculum, but I think we are not yet ready to implement it fully. because some of us are lacking that information about the CBC.
Ngaura Primary School was damaged by heavy rains, and now parents have come together to repair the mud-wall classrooms. According to the head teacher, the school has never received financial assistance to give it a facelift since it was built. For years, a severe shortage of classrooms and school furniture meant they studied in discomfort on dirty floors. Najua Bunda tries her best to instill as much of the knowledge as possible in the best way she knows.
4, 5.
Looking into the eyes of the children squatted on the ground before her, one notices a yearning for something more and better.
Kuna hiyo PP1 na PP2 wote wako pamoja, na kama hiyo CBC vile iko, naona inanikoroga sana watoto wakiwa mahali pamoja. Kama vile inatakikana kama wewe kila grade iko na mahali kwake. Kitu kigeni kimekuja sasa, inataka uzoefu na mafunzo kwa uzuri. Na sisi tumefunzwa kwa siku moja na field officers, twaitwa tu hivi mara moja, tunapigiwa tu kutokea mwanzo mpaka mwisho. Ukitoka pale kamba umekorogeka. Kazi nyingi, unaelezwa hapa, unaelezwa pale, mara unakuwa kamba umechanganyikiwa.
1, 2.
Mimi naona mfumo mpya ni mzuri kwa sababu unamlenga yule mtoto na urahisi wake, unamuonyesha kile kitu practical. Kwa sababu ukimwambia hii ni 1, unamuonyesha hasa 1 ina value ya vipi, manake ni nini 1.
After enduring a long and hard journey to get to school, the pupils at Chizaya Primary School still do not get any comfort while learning. This is because the school has inadequate classrooms. Preschool have a permanent structure which was constructed by the county government, while grade 1 and 2 occupy these 2 classrooms which were constructed by the CDF in 2016 at a cost of 2 million shillings. But the floor is already worn out. Teachers here claim the contractor did a shoddy job. There is no furniture and the young learners place books on their laps when they are writing. The school runs on the fuel of 3 teachers employed by the Teachers Service Commission who are serving over 200 pupils. Grade 3 lessons are conducted under a tree, with the young learners crowded into the available shade, peering at a battered blackboard that is leaning against the tree and straining to follow what the teacher, who can barely keep the board up, is saying. Josephine Umazi handles grade 1, 2 and 3. She handles 2 classes at the same time. While she's busy teaching grade 3, class 5 are also waiting for her services.
Hamjambo. Ketin.
Having 3 teachers who understand the CBC is a burden, because we have to deal with all the classes from morning to the evening. It's a bit tiresome because we have to deal with the grade 1, 2 and 3, and again you have 4, 5, 6 and 7 and 8. Then they also need work to do.
Unaona kitabu?
We have to group class 4 and 5, we combine them. Class 6 and 7, we combine them in one room. And then class 1 and 2, we have to group them in one class, so that at least in every class there's a teacher.
Tunaulizwa ngao alikuwa mgonjwa wakati gani? Turudi kwenye
per day, you find a teacher having zaidi ya vipindi 10 kwa siku moja.
Zainabu alipata.
The deplorable learning situation at this school is not only extremely unfavorable for the pupils, but also something the teachers too have to bear with, as they share a small mud-wall staff room.